accordance with the provision of Article.
But that notwithstanding, the General introduced the team, and it may be a competent team, but it's not representative of the subsidiaries. So we are not just dealing with one entity, and that is going to be a very big problem, because I'm sure you need backup staff for information that we may. What happened? We expected to have at least all subsidiaries represented. The corporation secretary is not there. Are they 6 or 5 subsidiaries to be represented at least? I think that's a problem.
Let me guide you on this. We separated the entities, and that's why in my introduction I've said you try to minimize the time, because after this we are going to agro. We have naked works. So we invited them in separation. Yes, Honorable.
Just raised an element of human resource workers cuts across. And one of the areas where the Auditor General concentrated, either today you are meeting NEC Corporation or NEC Agro or NEC Rural Industries, human resource must be around to answer that particular area.
Okay. Please, Dr. Honorable Musila, note those issues.
Mine is also a procedure. You know, I'm one of the people who believe in the girl child. When I looked at the representation, I don't see gender.
One out of 5.
A colleague here, the issue of gender, I think, is okay. We are not interested in the numbers. My only concern is somebody in the barracks without a rank. I have not had her rank there. But otherwise, the issue of gender, I think, is okay. Just tell us, are you crime preventer? Are you...
Okay. Honorable Lucy, you come in, Honorable Mujira.
Presentation of the team leader. It looks very impressive. I'm only curious. I want to know whether they have also started dealing with private sector as opposed to only government entities, and if so, it would be very good to get the statistics, because from government or because I know of these other local companies who are always crying and saying government is really very bad partner in terms of timely payments, in terms of timely payments. So how are they doing it with the government of Uganda that they are actually succeeding, so that they also tip the other Uganda from government of Uganda?
Okay. So members, if you are done, yes, Honorable Mujira, you can reply.
Thank you, Chair. The subsidiaries which are coming will come with their human resource officers, but the issue which was raised here for the headquarters, we thought that would able handle it. But if there is need for the overall HR, we can always bring him in. On the girl child, Chair, indeed we're very sensitive to gender, and you can see this lady here, Madam Shera Temia, who is very, very senior in the organization. She's the business development manager of NEC. And being a business entity, she's really our front person. So the rank is high. The rank, business development. Then whether we are dealing with the private sector, yes, we are dealing with both government and the private sector. Indeed, when you go to supermarkets and find the Uzuma water, this is not to government. When we find us in waste management with Kingfisher, this is not government. We're dealing with private companies. So we are both in the private and public sector. Question of delays, yes. You know how government pays, wait for quotas. But at the end of the day, they pay. When they don't pay, we wait. We are patient, but they pay. So we are dealing with both private and public sector.
Okay. Members, Let's go. There's the response from the entity, and then the Auditor General's report. The members, you have all these copies. We are starting with 1.0, management of government salary payroll, and that is one of the observations of the Auditor General. And then when you go to page 2 of the Auditor General's report, accordingly, during the annual audits of all government entities for the year ended 30th June 2023, I carried out the audit of salary payroll across government as a key audit matter to establish the root causes of the identified challenges and propose medical measures accordingly. The audit covered the last financial year of 2022-23 for non-uniformed staff at NEC. During the audit, I undertook a physical headcount validation of all employees at NEC who existed on the June 2023 payroll and further examined their records supporting their appointments into service. I further undertook other procedures to review the accuracy of the payroll, including reviewing the planning, budgeting, and payments during the 4-year period. And when you look at 1.1, observation, validation of employees on the entity main payroll. All 24 employees who appeared for the validation exercise presented all the prerequisite documents, information, and were fully verified. So members, for that you have any information or any query on that? If you have it, you raise it. Overview of the entity staff structure and establishment. The accounting office and during the audit, I requested for the approved staff structure and establishment for the entity to compare with the actual position filled. I was not availed with a copy of the approved structure, and as such, I was not able to establish the extent to which the appointments are being implemented. Honorable Mchida.
Thank you, Chair. That was an issue which was raised about the structure, and in my response, I said that the corporation has a human resource manual approved by the Board of Directors, which has a management structure that spells out key positions of the corporation. And I have, Chair, the human resource manual here, which clearly spells out the management structure, but as guided by the Auditor General, we are now going to develop a detailed staff structure. But otherwise, we've been depending on this manual, the human resource manual, which provides for the establishment of management. If, you may wish to look at it if necessary, but I have the manual here.
Let me have members. Lucy.
Thank you. I'm your commitment now about working on the structure. Do we have a time frame for this, or is open? Because this is something that was raised in audit, and I don't think we should see it resurfacing in the next financial year. So what is your commitment towards this?
Yes, please.
No. He's giving it to the chair.
The first one, the staff terms and conditions have been in existence since February 2020. So it didn't come after the audit. On our commitment...
The response you gave now, did you give it to the auditors as at the exit meeting?
Yes. That's why it was captured even in our response.
Okay.
Yes, we said we have this is what we've been following. Then the auditor said, in addition to the management structure, go ahead and have a detailed one of the structure, which we are working on. Our commitment is total, and I don't think this query is going to come again in the next financial year. If we had been advised earlier, maybe it would not have even arisen.
Honorable Mujira, when you read...
Chair, my question is still not
Okay,
answered.
okay.
I am interested in your commitment in having this structure in place because you've left it open. I know you have said it will not resurface, but can you give us at least a time frame when you'll have this in place?
Yes.
Honorable Chair, that's what I'm saying. If you have a copy of my report, my response, then I was saying management will develop a detailed staff structure as guided. And that is what we have embarked on. Our commitment is total. And in the course of this year, we shall certainly have that detailed staff structure. When I come back next year and I don't have it,
I think that's not so clear.
Honorable Kaswalo.
He wanted.
When we're here, we try our level best to help you, not just to look for the wrong things, but to help you improve. So since you're saying by next year we should hang you if you don't have the structure, we just wanted to help you so that even as you're planning, you know that in 3 months we should have the structure. And this is for me what I wanted, the commitment I wanted from you. For even as you're working, you know that I have 3 months to have the structure in place. If I don't have it, then somebody must follow me up. Something of that sort. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's really up to you if you think that in the next audit, it will not reappear.
Okay.
But I was just trying to help. Thank you.
Honorable Kaswalo.
I think, for the committee to come up with a report, there must be a commitment, a period of 3 months, a period of 6 months. I will have this in place. Yes.
Okay. Honorable Peter.
Thank you, Chair. I really wanted to be informed. What comes first, the structure and then the manual, or the manual before the structure? Sincerely.
Okay.
Then Chair, add the supplemental to that. Now, in the event that the structure was not in place, and I'm much aware that the structure shows, for example, the number of positions, the titles, and the salary scales, the hologram of the employment. Now, once that was not in place, what were they basing on? I don't know if what they have can show that, but I'm wondering how they were now employing the staff.
And let me read for you, Honorable Mujira. Auditor General's report. Page, you have the Auditor General's report? Page 2. 1.2. Page 2. The last paragraph. Are you seeing it? On that page. However, from my verification of responses of the accounting officer, I observed that what had been submitted by him was not a staff structure, since it did not show the number of positions, titles, and their salary scale. And in your response, you are saying that the corporation has a human resource manual approved by the board of directors, which has a management structure that spells out key positions for the corporation. There is some sort of contradictions. Can you clarify on that?
Mr. Chair, I don't see the contradiction there. And it's not that we don't have any structure in place. What we did not have is a detailed structure. Because when you look at the human resource manual, we have what we call an organogram for the National Enterprise Corporation. Right from the board of directors, to the general managers of the subsidiaries, to the staff of the headquarters, and that one is provided. So what was required now was to go into detail up to the last person as part of the overall structure of the National Enterprise Corporation. But otherwise, we are working according to this organogram with clear reporting lines.
Chair, that's why, Chair, the concern comes. The details of that last person, how do we employ that person if you don't have what you based on to employ?
So how have you been paying him or her?
You see, what exists under different departments. For example, here when I provide for corporation secretary, under the corporation legal department, there is a structure that you have a corporation secretary, you have a litigation manager, you have, you know, but now we are trying to consolidate it and bring it as one structure. Otherwise, for every subsidiary, there is a structure. You find NEC Agro, you have a general manager, you have a deputy, you have somebody in charge of production, you have somebody in charge of fertilizers, you know. So those structures exist. But now we are going to put it together as a structure of the National Enterprise Corporation, different from the organogram which was presented. And we have even the scales, because each position has a scale, has its salary, whatever, has the responsibilities, and everything is laid down in this human resource manual. So if I share with you the manual, you'll get all these
please you
details.
forward a copy as on a
That is required were indicated by the Auditor General, and the management here in statement is accepting that before the next audit, they would have captured all the details. And I think this is what we're interested in. If it is the period, you can easily say before the next audit, everything will be in place.
Okay, yes.
That's for the guidance. For the next budget, we'll definitely be ready.
Which next budget? Because
Next
you have,
audit, next audit.
Because you have already started one. Okay. Failure to automate human resources and payroll management function. Yes. Honorable Mujira.
Thank you, Chair. That is a fact. It was not failure, but we had not automated the finance and accounting processes. And partly it was because of funding, because it required a lot of money. As I have said in my introductory remarks, we've been struggling to offset the losses. Now that we have started making some money, we have embarked on this process. Indeed, after the guidance from the Auditor General, we went ahead and engaged a company. Contract has been signed, and the process is ongoing.
Honorable members on that. Honorable Nangoli.
My biggest worry here is, much as the accounting officer, who also happens to be our own, is giving us positive responses, but this is an accountability committee, Honorable Chair. I expected from the accounting officer to give us evidence, because this audit we are in is for 2020 to 2023. It is about 1 year down the road that the accounting officer has not bothered to update their records, whereby today he would be giving us evidence that this is what I've done. Out of 100, I've at least reached 45%. Given a time 3 months from now, I'll be able to make 100. So I expected the former student of Honorable Yusuf Sibambi to be a little bit here. He was also his student.
Your point is clear.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Waka.
Chair, when I look at the comment of the Auditor General, and I assume it was during the exit meeting, he noted the following, that according to the accounting officer, explained that much as the corporation desire to have all its operation fully automated, much as you desire to have all the operations fully automated, the entity lacks funds to fully automate the human resource department. Now, do you want to comfort us by saying During that period, you had not got the money. Now you have the money, the process is taking place.
Yes.
Okay?
Honorable.
Yeah, thank you. And exactly that's what it is. For evidence, we have already signed a contract with a company called ERP, and we have also obtained approval from NITA-U because it is a requirement, and I have a letter signed by the ED of NITA-U to that effect. In addition, other subsidiaries, for example, NECO Construction and Engineering and NECO Uzuma, they have already automated their accounting processes. So we are moving well. Subsidiaries have started. We are also, since we have awarded the contract, we think that in the next, not maybe more than 3 months, the whole exercise will be over. Because the NEC headquarters is really a skeleton. We are not many. It's just very few people.
Honorable Itungo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The colleague was asking about the evidence. Our interest now should be the current status. And my appeal through you is that they submit those documents as an effort and an evidence to the committee that something is being done. So through Chair, I request that you submit the copies of the agreements or contracts and whatever for the committee to be satisfied that something is happening.
Yes, can you please
Yeah,
provide
much
us with
obliged. We'll submit the you approving that process. Thank you for the guidance.
and even the review with the management structure, which you talked about, and then the old one. Please note those things because we need those. Honorable Lucy?
Chair, that was the reason and the issue I wanted actually to raise, because they kept making reference to documents and I didn't see it crossing over to your table. So I wanted to raise that procedure issue. It's now sorted, thank you.
Okay. We go to 1.4. Expect. I think. Are you there? Page 3. Expected wage bill for the financial year 2023-2024. Honorable Mujira.
Chair, I think that is what was explained, as you can see it in the report, because they were talking about the employees who were in post. And our explanation was that the verification was conducted for only civilian staff when the corporation has other members, especially from the armed forces, who are paid some top-up allowances. So the figure above is valid in relation to the 24 non-uniformed staff. And I think that is the explanation we gave to the auditors general, and they were satisfied with the explanation. So there's nothing much we expected to do.
Honorable Lucy?
Chair, I'm just asking myself if the auditors were satisfied. I'm just wondering why they maintained the query.
Auditor, can I have a comment from you on that?
So, okay, thank you, Chair. The issue of the wage bill was properly handled, but we did need to talk about total reporting. It was okay. The explanation is good, but we're reporting in totality. That's why it's also here.
So, Chair, that was a concern that was raised, and our response was that the corporation has consolidated its financial statements, and guidance has been sought from the Accountant General as recommended, and we have evidence of the financial statements to that effect with my General Manager in charge of finance. He could avail a copy to this committee.
Chair.
Yes, Honorable Sibambi.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to thank the General for the explanation. But this is not just a general concern. Corporation Secretary also has to explain. So when you have subsidiaries, the assumption is that they are quasi-independent, and they must be supervised and monitored. So the purpose of seeking for consolidated financial statements is not just to let the other people come up with accounts, but also to give additional supervisory powers to the holding company. So it's not just a concern as an anomaly. Can you please explain why you failed, Corporation Secretary, to guide this process? It's not just an ordinary concern, it's a financial reality. Actually, it is legally embedded, even the Companies Act everywhere. Where you have a subsidiary, at least on matters to do with group accounts, you must come in. It's also supervisory. What happened for you not to provide consolidated account financial statements and wait for the Auditor General to look at this? It's not just a concern, it's a big anomaly. And Chair, I think you should go to the right office of the Secretary. Why didn't you guide? Because this is your role.
Yes, Honorable Mutira.
Maybe it should be the finance officer, not the corporation, because what has been happening is that the subsidiaries have their accounts. When they bring those accounts, they consolidate them. In this particular case, there could have been a delay, but that is the practice, because even when we are submitting to the board, we submit consolidated accounts of all subsidiaries to give a picture that covers all of them. So, and this is the report which I have now, because at that time they had not consolidated. There could have been a delay, but it is the practice.
That is for which year?
This is for the year ended 30th June 23.
We need a copy.
And it was even submitted to the Accountant General's office and all the relevant offices, but we can avail a copy to him. So take note.
Need a copy?
Explain. Because now this comes in place after there's been a concern raised by the Auditor General. The question was, why did he fail to prepare them by that time?
No, that is what I'm explaining, that we have been doing this over time, but this time I think there was a delay. So by the time...
Honorable, let me...
Okay, you can get the finance officer to explain
that, because here you can't say that I think. You need to be clear on that, yes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members, we had guided because they prepare consolidated accounts all the time. But however, there was a delay. And that's why probably we're requesting the General Manager of Finance to explain what caused the delay. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. This time around, we normally consolidate accounts when all the financial statements of all the subsidiaries have been cleared by the Auditor General. But in this particular year, the audit process stretched a bit, and by the time the financial statements of the subsidiaries were ready, we had already been late for as stipulated by the law.
For us to, yes, Honorable Sipambi?
The way the response is given is like, this is just an ordinary formality. It is not.
No, no.
Yes, so now kindly please explain. You see, with all these delays, it has an effect. So I think for the record, you either concede that there was a problem on your side, failing to ensure that you deliver in time, but going forward, at least for the record, there's no explanation that in the past we're dealing with a year where is in question.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Honorable Naume.
But I think they need to take the recommendation of the Auditor General, because he is saying, if it was just a delay, I think he would have mentioned it. But he's saying that he advised the accounting officer to engage the Accountant General for adequate guidance with a view of ensuring that the consolidated financial statements meet the reporting and disclosure requirements of the accountant general. I think much as you say it was a delay, but I think there was something that is not done rightly or technically right. So I think you better follow this recommendation. Much as you're saying I'm going to do it, I think there is a requirement that you engage the accountant general to make it proper.
And
it's not delay only. I think there was something that was not
And
done
for that,
properly.
if you are saying that it was a delay, we shall also need that of the consolidated one for the year ended of 2022. The year ended 2022. So that we can confirm that really this practice was being done, that here it was just a delay. Yes, Honorable Baka?
Chair, maybe listen to this statement from the Auditor General, and I want you to refresh our minds that his thinking is not what we are doing. Failure to prepare a consolidated financial statement implies that there is no source of consolidated financial information for the entire group of companies. It also limits the understandability of the performance of the corporation and its subsidiaries at a glance. What is your comment on that?
Yes, Director of Finance. Be on record, sir.
True that without consolidated statements, the users of those statements cannot get a clear picture of the consolidated performance of the corporation, and it's something we want to ensure that it won't happen again.
Members, I think we have had enough engagement on that. We shall make a recommendation according to the response. 3.0, finance and accounting processes. Honorable Mujira.
Yes, Chair. The recommendation of the Auditor General was to the effect that he advised the accounting officer to prioritize automating of the financial reporting processes within NEC and its subsidiaries for enhanced effectiveness. Good advice which we took, and in my response, Honorable Chair and members, I said that management takes it as a priority to automate the corporation's finance and accounting processes, what we have started on. The procurement of a financial management solution is in progress. Other entities within the NEC, such as NEC Construction Works and Engineering and NEC Uzima, have already automated their accounting processes.
Honorable members, Honorable Peter.
Thank you, Chair. 2 out of the 6 or so subsidiaries. Then in addition to that, I just wanted him to help the committee. That they are still operating analog. If you could take us how it is done, a voucher is originated, the whole process is analog in this current century, is what I wanted him actually to take us through.
Note, Honorable Nangoli.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, what I wanted to hear from the General is if you have a certified public accountant in place who is helping you to prepare these things.
Do you have internal auditor?
The extreme end, maybe you can respond to those. He's the internal auditor of the corporation.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, I'm a CPA 1845, CPA 1845, and the General Manager of Finance is also CPA.
Honorable Naume.
This is just an observation. From what we started with, they are asking automation, the Auditor General. I think maybe the nature of their training, they think everything can be done manually, and they have not thought of it. So it has been recurring. So may I also request that you better go digital, because in this world we are no longer analog. Much as you are, I think by nature of training, you think everything will be. This is what I've observed, because everything, the data is not there. So you better do now, come out of this analog and go digital. Thank you.
Honorable Itungo.
I think
Nation have already given, because you see the concern of the auditor general. He was saying, why are you still using manual? Why have you not gone this? And we are saying we didn't have funds before, now we have engaged these companies, we have already signed a contract, we have got approval of NITAU, and some of the subsidiaries, 2 out of the 5, have already automated. So I really think that we're on the right track.
Okay. Let's go to 4.0, lack of unapproved strategic.
Thank you, Chair. We have a strategic plan, and this strategic plan was approved by the board in 2021. It's a plan that covers 2021 to 2026. So we have it here. I have a copy. The only problem was that there was a review process under the NPA, the National Planning Authority. Immediately after approval, we submitted to the NPA. It delayed, but finally, they gave us the approval, and now we have the strategic plan duly approved by NPA. They told us that the reason they delayed, they wanted to study each and everything to make sure that it's aligned to the NDP. And that has been concluded, and the approval got, and we have the plan duly approved.
Procedure.
Yes, proceed.
This document presented before us here as approved a plan cannot be received as such. I think let's go to the audit query. When the Auditor General says there was no such a document, is it really a procedure right for us to receive a document this morning without first interrogating the query, and then maybe later the General may have to submit after answering to the query?
The reason why?
Because he's trying to suppress a query which I believe is genuine. At the time of the audit, what did you present?
Lucy?
Yes, clear, they said approve, lack of, and I think they were very specific with their words, lack of approved strategic plan. But now we are hearing that actually there was an approved plan. So which is which? Now, another question that I want to ask, as you were developing your strategic plan, you didn't consult NPA? And then when did you get the approval from them?
Okay. Let me have, no, first wait, you come in.
And the recommendation therein, in which he says, I advised the accounting officer to follow up with NPA and have the approved copy of the strategic plan. What happened is that we had a plan which we have been following. NPA was delaying the process of review for almost 2 or 3 years. So when we presented the matter to the Auditor General says, now I recommend that we follow up with NPA so that it is concluded. Immediately we go to this recommendation, we did follow up with the NPA, go to the approval of the NPA, and here it is, ready. So we had, it's not that we didn't have a plan in place.
Honorable Sasaga.
Find out why had they been very comfortable to operate with a draft plan, much aware that you could go and get the approved one from NPA. Why do you wait for the auditors to come? Because immediately they recommended, you now moved to go. You went and you got it. Now, why you were more comfortable to operate with the drafted one? The draft plan. And from here, as if the board even hadn't approved it.
No, let me just make it very clear that this plan was approved in 2021. The delay by the board, the delay by the NPA to review it was really outside our powers. Because when they approved, we started implementing, immediately we submitted to NPA. It has taken so many, 3 years almost. So by the time they even carried out the audit, the document was already with NPA. But after the audit, we put in a lot of pressure to make sure that they conclude as soon as possible, and that's what has happened.
Chair, I think bringing a document before us. I think I would pray that we take that explanation, whether this plan is now approved, it maybe to come in the next audit by the Auditor General saying it is proper. Otherwise, Parliament receiving this document, we cannot deny it afterwards. Let's just take your explanation. I think that is clear.
Honorable members, yes, Honorable Lucy.
Yeah, thank you. Like Honorable Sibambe said, I think it's a better explanation, but I would request that maybe we have an engagement with NPA, because 3 years is a very long time and it disorganizes an entity. So what happened along the way, and maybe it would also help us if we had correspondences between NEC and NPA indicating maybe their request, you know, for urgent approvals and all that. It would also help us. Thank you.
Chair, National Planning Authority. The National Planning Authority responded by pointing out e-learning. Now, in between, we don't know who delayed. Did you streamline them in advance? You delayed in streamlining them. But all the same, you have now admitted you are going to have it fully. Thank you.
Okay.
Chair, I am emphasizing the correspondence. If we can have them, then we get to know where the issues were.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Peter.
Yes,
As we are concluding.
Oh, okay, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, a strategic plan is because it clearly, and it even has a budgetary attachment. So implementing it and then having that is not approved, I think that's why the auditors are querying that lack of it. Even we don't know whether they are following the right direction, because it is key. And unless National Planning Authority approves, like my colleagues have stated, the documents really indicating, because we cannot apportion blame on the entity and also apportion blame on NPA. We really call for those documents to prove that somebody must have slept on the job somewhere, either in NPA or in NEC.
Okay. Any comment on that?
Thank you, Chair. I think they will provide all the correspondences for any organization, really. Even from a military point of view, some of us have that background. You need that. And, thank you.
When you go back to 3.0 failure to automate finance and accounting processes, and you have talked on that is 3.0. We have talked about the procurement, you are in the process. Have you done due diligence? Because you have seen some entities like Uganda Wildlife Authority having a system, then at the end of it, it fails due to some other reasons. Have you done due diligence to this, which you have said that you have done the contract and whatever, so that we don't mess up like in other entities, how they have done it?
I will leave.
On that? Okay.
I also wanted to know the bidding process. Just be handpicked, that one also could help us. Because apart from the due diligence, how was this bidder procured? And then evidence to that effect.
Okay, yes.
Finance, GM Finance, you can answer those.
Chair of the process, about 3 companies were invited to present proposals, and the one we picked on emerged the best. As far as due diligence is concerned, I think it's something we can look into before we finally engage the service provider.
Pardon, about the due diligence? The due diligence of this system?
I said on due diligence is something we can look into before we engage the service provider to install and
No, I think what they meant is he's giving an example that you can get a system and it fails to work. And that is the reason why there is a requirement that you go to NITA-U, even to approve. If it's just some of these companies which don't have the expertise, they don't approve at all. You know?
But so the user department must, and that's where government is doing it badly, must generate specifications. What NITA-U does is to approve your specification that you have sat and agreed, forwarded in a specification that this particular system will work, it will be good for your operations. I think that is it. But saying that it's NITA-U, without you having in-house specifications, that's where there is a problem.
Yes.
I mean, the specifications are the ones, I think, which guide even the process, because you have to be very clear what are you trying to automate, which systems, and then provide specifications on the basis of which they quote and through the bidding processes, so that you don't end up with the fake systems.
Please avail us with the contract. You avail us with the contract. Be on record, the officer. Be on record. We need the contract which you with the
contract has been awarded.
You provide forward. You have to forward that.
You want a copy of the contract?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
Yes, Honorable.
Chair, one member asked about the due diligence. In a good spirit, we are just not trying to complicate issues. I just want to give you one example. I was on a select committee which dealt with NSSF. And some people, without doing due diligence, went up to India to...
How you want to handle it?
Okay.
Because I'm staying here.
Okay, it's fine.
So I don't know.
So, and members, at this moment, we are going for NEC Agro, and
Chair, I know you implement your mandate at this level before the specific entities come. Generally, do you have any general proposals that you want us to present before Parliament? Overall, if not,
my issue would only be financial. I don't know how COSASE can help me so that you can increase my capitalization. I'm aware. I can assure you we'll go to another level.
Okay. Members?
Maybe if I can also, if you can, depending on COSASE, because in most cases you just look at these reports, but you don't get an opportunity to go to the field and look at the facilities we have put up, you know, so that you can appreciate better doing. So we are ready to receive you at our, especially our rural industries in Nakasongora. You let us know. We give you a comprehensive.
You have made any. Are you paying dividends to government or not?
Okay. You have any comment?
We are now. So when we started making profits, indeed, we present to the board, and the board has been making decisions to invest the dividends. So as far as we are concerned, we continue. The more money we make, maybe at some future time we shall be paying some good dividend to government.
Honorable members, I suspend this meeting for 10 minutes. Thank you.